Okay, we are live. Just waiting for YouTube as normal. All right. Welcome live from the crossroads of America to a 1 hour talk show about shooting with disabilities. Plus, we might talk about anything else that crosses our mind, too. We will answer questions from the audience. Just put them in the chat boxes on YouTube or gun channels, or email me at Rickslifeasiseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. Somebody actually used that email the other day to send me the answer to my quiz. Very few people use that one, but it's there. It's available. Also, I have a Patreon page, and I have a Spreadshirt page, and I just wanted to let everybody know that. So there we go. Also, for those on gun channels, and if they want to join the panel, the link is in the chat room over on gun channels to join us. And let's see who was first in the room on YouTube tonight. Jason Stewart. Then there's Blind Shooter, Rob D, New York Outcast, Patriot in the Darks over there. Who else we got over there? That's about the only people I think I see in there right now. Yeah, but more will come, hopefully. But then we got Rick's White over on gun channels. Tony York's over there. That's his name written down here. David's over there. That's it so far. My esteemed panel so far tonight. Oh, we lost him already. Hope he comes back. We'll start with Squib. How you doing, Squib?
Hey.
And we got the one, the man, the myth, or is it man, the legend, the myth, or the man, the myth, the legend, Patriot in the Dark.
How's it going? I hope everybody's doing good. I hear Jason Stewart's out there, even though I don't have his address yet. I still got a pile of swag waiting for him, but he doesn't want to email me at patriotinthedark@gmail.com.
All right. Then we got the kingpin himself. David, how you doing?
All right. How you doing tonight, Rick?
Not too bad. Then we got the one and only Blind Shooter. How you doing?
Doing good, Rick. Thanks for having me.
Okay, good to be here. We did have Tony, but he's either dropped out or whatever. I know he's only got a few days left and he's back home, so we'll be seeing more of him. His daughter's coming back, so the babysitting will be over. So he'll be on the panel more. Okay. I'm not with it this afternoon. I spent most of the afternoon over my aunt's house. Because she just got home from the hospital, having chemo and stuff like that. And she's rambling on. Well, not actually, I wouldn't call it rambling on. She's talking about, she talked about stuff back in the day when they were, when my father never talked about it, his growing up. And her, and because I stopped by and picked up my uncle, took him over there because he wanted to see her too. And they started reminiscing about their childhood. Oh, man. We're talking about, through the 30s and 40s. Man. Me growing up in the 60s and 70s, I thought life was tough. Jesus Christ. I had it easy compared to what they had it. It was eye-opening. You hear people saying that, they all slept in the same bedroom, and my father and his brothers and sister did. They slept all in the same bedroom. My grandmother made their clothes out of any kind of scrap she could find. She even used white, white sacks, grain sacks or whatever, and she would boil them and put lye in it or something to bleach out the writing on them, for she could use it for sewing material. That's and she said what they lived off was rabbits, squirrels. That was their meat supply, and whatever vegetables they could grow. Anyway, the totally different I can talk more about that on Saturday because we're here. I do have a couple of items on my list here for shooting with disabilities. And one question, I think we've talked about this before, but no problem bringing it up. Actually, this question comes from Patriot. But it's me too. It's like people who have to use a cane. What hand do you use the cane in, or what side? I mean, like me, I carry on the right side, but I also use the cane on the right side. So if something happens, I have to let go of the cane to pull my firearm.
That's why you need a cane gun.
Yes, you're right. And the only reason that is because, as everybody knows, my left wrist is damaged. I can't, because I'm not, as everybody knows, I'm naturally left-handed, and I would carry on the left if my hand was able to handle it, but it can't. So I have to carry on the right. But I was trying to walk without. I have this sort of, it's not a very good back brace, but I got one, and I was using that today, and I can walk a little bit without the cane. I need to get me a better back brace because be honest with you, I don't want to be operated on. I don't want my back operated on because it scares the hell out of me. It really does. So I'm going to try to find a back brace, but I believe, hopefully, Medicare should cover it. So
I got a question for you, Rick. As far
Yeah.
as shooting with disabilities go, you said you're naturally left-handed. How hard was it for you to transfer over to doing things right-handed, since you're naturally left-handed?
It was kind of strange. I actually took lessons. I took lessons when I first started shooting anyway. Now I was left-handed, and after I had my accident, and after about 6 months before I could pick up a gun again, and I know I had to go. I went back and had lessons with the same lady who taught me, and she taught me how to shoot right-handed, and it was damn awkward. It was even today. I can't hold a rifle up to my right shoulder. I still shoot left-handed with a rifle. It goes up to my left shoulder automatically. But with the right, yes, it took a lot. It took a lot of practice. I would sit at home, practice dry firing with the right hand in front of the TV, just to get used to it in the hand. Now it feels natural in my right hand. But that's the only thing that does. I hate to say this, when my hand was done, and they had, you can't see it on the camera here, but there's scars in it where the pins went into my hand. My hand was totally immobilized for, what was it, 5 weeks? And try not to put people. I hope people aren't eating any dinner right now, but I even had, when I went to the bathroom, I even had to learn to use my right hand. So it was damn awkward, I tell you. But it was definitely a challenge. But unfortunately, I used the cane in my right hand because it was supporting originally it was supporting my bad left hip. But my back, it helps me with my back on the right. If I try to use the cane with my left hand, my back, it doesn't seem to support my back so much. Maybe is that because I have the weak left hand? I don't know. So what I have to look, that split second of letting go, I hope it doesn't slow me down if the thing ever arises where I need to pull a firearm. God forbid, I hope I never have to, but if I did, letting go, then, grabbing your shirt, pulling it up, pulling out your weapon or whatever, that split second of letting go of the cane, because I can stand without the cane. I said I can walk without it, but it makes life easier with it.
I don't think dropping the cane, the millisecond that it's going to take you to drop your cane, is going to really matter as long as you can still stand without it. Like if it's not going to mess up your balance or,
Oh
you
no.
know,
Yeah.
that, I think dropping the cane is fine.
Oh yeah. I mean, when I go shooting, I do sit down and shoot, but I also practice. I start shooting standing up until my back hurts so much. Then I sit down and shoot. So I practice standing up and without the cane and everything for that. Do that sort of practice to make sure I can do it.
Where I
I can.
would
Yeah, go
where I
on.
would be concerned about dropping the cane is what happens afterwards. Like, can you walk a decent distance without it? Like, what if you have to drop the cane and then there's goodbye cane? You can't get back to it. Like, how big of a deal is that?
Uh, I can walk without it. I'm very slow, and I would have to stop. Not every few feet. I mean, I could walk. Oh, I would imagine I could walk 50 yards without the cane before I would have to stop. But I'll be walking real. The further along I got on that 50 yards, time I got to the 50-yard line, I'll be walking at a snail's pace.
I don't know.
Is it
If you had the adrenaline pumping, that might work in your advantage.
It could.
do you need the cane to stand? I mean, if you were knocked down, what would happen in that situation? Are you able to?
I can get up without. I could. If I was knocked down, I can get myself up. As long as
Okay.
I mean, put it this way: if I'm knocked down in the middle of the street, getting up is hard for me. It really is. But say if I was knocked down and I was knocked down next to a building or next to a car, as long as I could put my hand on that to help me push myself up, I can get up. So if I had, I mean, the cane will help me in that situation, but I'm always afraid I'm going to break the cane because of how big I am. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it would break because I buy an extra heavy duty one. But
I'll send you a link. There's a guy. He's a vet down in Florida that makes aluminum canes,
yeah,
but they're also like a self defense because the handle part is a little bit weighted or something. I don't know. They're Patriot canes down there.
So
I talked
what,
to the guy once, but because I called him about a long cane, and he had never done that because I was like, hey, I'd like to have a solid handle. But
yeah.
what about you, Patriot? Like, how do you carry your cane on your carry side, and what
I,
happens if you have to let go of it and you can't get back to it? Like,
well, it's since started learning a cane, as my vision, I lost my vision, but I've always practiced with both hands. So if I'm walking down the road or down the sidewalk, I can mid stride, I can change, and I made a point of doing that. So if I was carrying something or a backpack or a bag or whatever, I'd be able to change hands. And so that was something I really focused on in the beginning. And I don't know if anybody, most people do that or not, but I practiced so that I could trade up. It's not as comfortable in the left hand, but it's not using a white cane, for low vision or blind. It's different. You kind of I don't know if you guys ever even seen somebody use a white cane. It's different where you'll have your hand with your palm facing up, like the way I do it. Between my index finger and my thumb, I hold the cane. Okay, so the handle protrudes back towards my wrist, and from that point, that's where it's just kind of a little flick back and forth, so it swoops from side to side. And so if I don't know, I mean that's basically how I carry it. So it's not anything that I could switch hands. I mean, I usually use my right hand, and that is my carry side. So I mean, if I got into a position, um, I'd have to switch, or if I was carrying something in the other hand and had my cane and had to do something, I'd have to drop it or whatever. But then again, dropping it, I mean, I can kind of if I'm in the middle of a traffic or something, then I might have an issue. But normally I can find it if I drop it, I guess.
Well, say there's a active shooter situation, or a car blows up in the middle of the intersection and something goes wrong, and you do get separated from the cane. Can you manage to get around out in public? Like, have you kind of figured out your senses and stuff like that to get yourself around in public, or?
I mean, I could get out of the way of vehicles if from noise wise, but I can't hear curbs, or whatever. So I'd have to kind of understand where I'm at. If I know where I'm at, if I was like in my yard or something, I'd know exactly what to do. But somewhere just out in town, walking down the sidewalk, since I have no vision, there is no, sense. I mean, you can hear things, where.
Yeah, but you can't tell when a curb's coming up if you're out in the street.
Yeah, it's not curbs or anything, but I can tell where a building is. If I'm standing next to a building and there's sounds around me on 3/4 of the other side, I can hear it reflect off and stuff like that. But it's not anything where I would take off running or something. I might look awful silly. I'd look like one of those sighted guys walking around with their cell phones, banging into windows or something.
If you drop the cane and you want it to come back to you, just reach out with your feelings. You're one with the force.
Yeah, that's that only happens if you're hanging upside down.
Oh, okay.
Now if you watch Star Wars, it's only happened if he's hanging upside down. Yeah.
So what about you?
Yeah, or Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, because he was upside down too when he did it. So
yeah, they have to be. Yeah, that's kind of the prerequisite, I think.
So what about you, blind shooter? What do you do?
I pretty much trained myself to use both hands with the cane, only because I figured at some point I might need to learn to do it. Unfortunately, I can't carry a gun in public yet, but I carry the cane on the right-hand side, and I'm left-hand dominant, so if I need to grab the knife out of my pocket for self-defense, I can do it that way.
So, I mean, if you were allowed to carry, you would carry on the left-hand side?
Exactly.
Okay.
But there's also a company, I don't know if Patriot's heard of it, called Custom Cane, and Custom Cane is spelled with a K.
K, yeah.
And they actually make canes. You can choose what kind of features you want to it, but they make theirs with built-in knives and stun guns, if he's ever interested.
So,
that was a secret.
What happens if you lose your glasses, blind shooter?
I mean, I'm pretty familiar with the neighborhood I'm in, so I can pretty much get around. And we have a lot of hospital staff, like nurses and college students, so I just play the whole, have pity on me, I'm the blind guy, pretty nurse, come help me.
Oh, I was picturing like Velma off of Scooby-Doo losing her glasses.
Jinkies.
That's like that cartoon I saw where the blind guy with the cane's walking down and a pretty girl walks by and he turns around and looks at her. Yeah.
Upon advice of legal counsel, I may or may not have done that.
So, I mean, of course, Squib, you don't use a cane, so you're. Now, can you? I mean, I guess Blind Shooter and Patriot, both of you, not like. I mean, if you fell down, you can get yourself up, right? Without any help.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, just just do that backflip, the little kick up.
Yeah. I have trouble getting up. I mean, like today, it was embarrassing. I went over when I was over my aunt's house. When I went in, normally when I either sit in a chair by myself, or if I sit on the couch, I normally sit on the right hand side, where I can put my weight on the arm to help me get up. Well, my cousin was sitting on that side, so I had to sit on the left hand side of the couch, and oh man, I couldn't get myself out of it. Plus, the couch is real low, one of these real low ones. Oh man, it was embarrassing. I sort of started to get up and I fell over, Oh, I fell onto my knees, and I sort of had to walk on my knees over to the right-hand side, put my hand on the arm of the chair to get my ass up. It's a real pain in the ass, you know.
Do you also train with your? I know you've mentioned that with your scooter. So shooting from it,
Yes.
like from concealment and taking out and shooting.
Yes.
Okay.
Normally, what happens is when I go, I'm going to hopefully, if the weather behaves this week, but the forecast looks like I'm going to have rain for the rest of the week. But now that I got my thing back on the back of my truck, I'm going to start taking my scooter down to where I shoot. And as I said, I'll stand until my back hurts. Then I'll get into the scooter. Then I'll start practicing with that. You know. So, yeah, I keep practice with all that in case I ever have to use it. Right now, I said I'm very disappointed. I thought my Indiana permit would be here, but it ain't here yet. So, right now, technically, legally, according to the Indiana law, I can't carry. Kind of a damn annoying, but that's my own fault.
I got a question for everybody here. Do you really put that much time into practicing offhand? I know like going to the range, a lot of guys, they'll, oh yeah, I'll shoot a little bit, but they don't, actually take, devote a lot of time to just shooting offhand. Is that you guys?
Well, basically, I would shoot with my left hand. I would normally shoot maybe. I would do it every time I go. I would shoot with my left hand, but I would more like I would shoot sort of like maybe 3 magazines, with my left hand. I'll do one, just my left hand on its own, then maybe 2 magazines holding it, with both hands, but my left hand being the dominant hand, But only about 3 magazines. That's about all I use. But most of my shooting's done with my right now.
The reason I thought of that is because you said that you used to shoot left-handed, and then once all the times you shoot right-handed now, and how,
Oh yeah, I still use
if that would be.
I mean, but as I think I've said this before. I mean, I know you can't see it, Pedro, but I got my M&P 45 in my left hand right now. I mean, I can hold it in that. I mean, I'm not gripping it very hard because I can't. But if I try to hold it and grip it, it doesn't take long, and it starts shake. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. It's starting to shake already. I don't have the strength in that hand anymore, like I do in my right. So I do practice with it still, though.
Yeah, I just mean with that much practice, your right hand is actually your off hand.
Yes.
So it's so.
Oh, I'm damn
for
good
anybody
with my right
else,
hand
if we practiced enough, then our offhand could be that good.
I used to, when I was younger, shoot two-handed, gun in each hand, pistol in each hand. And I was more accurate with my left hand, with my weak hand, when I had a gun in my right hand. But if I just tried to shoot with my left for practice, which I do a few times a year, but I don't put a ton into it. Yeah, it's just really awkward. But as soon as you've got something that weighs about the same in the other hand, I don't know what it is. Even the eye dominance thing isn't really an issue or anything. It just seems to balance out. But I haven't done that oh man, it's been a long time since I've done that. So I should probably try it again and just see what happens.
Yeah.
Is that because you're holding the pistol sideways?
You're doing the gangster whole thing.
And when you put two, kind of it offsets it a little.
Yeah, what I did was I actually held them both sideways so that the ejection ports were facing each other. That way, the brass would just hit each other simultaneously and drop to my feet, and then I could pick them up for reloads a lot easier. Yeah.
See, he doesn't practice shooting both hands at the same time because one hand's got his gun and the other hand's writing a letter to the president.
Oh.
Now, what would be interesting is if I was writing a letter to the president with the other hand while doing El Presidente, which is a form of drill that you can do with the handgun.
Now, do you practice shooting offhand, David?
I never do with rifle, and I probably won't practice very much with rifle. Bolt action, I'd probably give it a shot, but not semi-auto. I'm not really interested in getting hit in the face with brass. Handgun, I dry fire all the time with my left hand, and I practice a lot at home with my left hand, drawing and doing drills and stuff. When I get to the range, I tend to neglect my left hand a little bit. But I do practice with it, not nearly as much as I should, but I do.
Yeah. Now,
About that dry firing, you can go see a doctor about that.
Yeah, I know.
but talking about, like I said, my little M&P 1522. You know, I said I hold it up to my left shoulder and shoot it. So yeah, you're right. I mean, occasionally the brass will hit me. I know it's only a little 22 coming out of it, but
It makes you tougher.
oh yeah, yeah. People when they say, "Well, what's all those burn marks on you?" You know, I said, "Yeah, makes you tougher." You know, that's all that is. So, but I don't get it. I mean, I don't know what it'd be like shooting a bigger caliber. You know, because I said all I got is a 22 rifle. So maybe I'll have to buy a left-handed rifle. You know, I don't know. Do they make semi-automatics left-handed?
Yes, they
Yeah.
do.
First shoots out the other way.
Oh yeah.
Or you
Yeah.
just get a sock and put over your ejection port.
Yeah, guess so. Yeah, but you know that on my practice my left, or as you said, my right hand's my offhand now, and I shoot pretty good with it. And actually, I think the reason why I shoot so good with it now that I've got used to holding the gun in my right hand is I'm right, even though, as I said before, I'm totally left hand dominant. Everything I do, you know, swinging a baseball bat, swinging a golf club, can't do it anymore because of my back. But when I could, I do everything left handed, right left handed. You know, do all that. If I pick up my drink, I do it with my left hand, and all that kind of stuff. But I'm right eye dominant, so shooting my right hand, it's a lot easier for me to line up my sights. Because when I was when I use my left, I sort of have to turn my head to line it all up. You know, but I still turn my head slightly even now, right-handed. But that's got to do with the glasses more than my eyes. When I'm wearing my contacts, I can keep my head straighter and look down the thing. But with glasses on, I have to turn my slightly to make the old progressive things work and line it all up. So there we go. That's that. Anybody else got anything they want to talk about on that subject? Because I got another. I mean, we've already basically talked about it already. But like I was going to bring up, like I told you, I stand up as long as I can. Then I have to sit down and shoot. People with back issues. I mean, this is the question. If you can stand, do you stand or do you always stay seated? You know, I stand as long as I can until it becomes uncomfortable. Then I will sit down and shoot. You know, then even when I went to the NRA the other week, using the scooter is great, but I would get out of the scooter and walk around the booths and stuff. So by the end of the afternoon, my back was absolutely killing me, even though I'm sitting down. But I said that's what happens like when I'm at the range. I stand as long as I can, then I sit down, you know, and good night shoot. But once the pain is overtaken me, I call it quits. I pack up and go home. You know, I don't shoot through the pain. Yeah, unknown user says he stands as long as his back allows. Then he sits for a while, then stands back up. Yeah, I mean I've tried that too. You know, but a lot of times I said I'll stand shooting up, then I'll sit. If I don't have my scooter with me, I'll sit down in a chair or on a stool or something. And you know, and
I
shoot.
was trying to think. I don't even. I guess on the rifle side of the range I go to, they have obviously benches or something you can sit on when they're shooting from the bench. But as far as the pistol, I don't even. I mean, I can't. I'm sure there's probably something over there.
Well,
I haven't seen it. But.
What I used to do before I got my scooter was the range I belonged to in Rhode Island would let me drive my truck. I would reverse my truck right up to the shooting line where I was going to shoot from. So once I couldn't do it, I would come back and sort of like rest my ass cheeks on the back of the, I had the bed of the truck down, the tailgate down. I was sort of like lean against the tailgate to support me, and I would keep on shooting.
Yeah, see, my range, you can stand, sit, lay down, kneel, or whatever you want to do, as long as you're not past the firing line on the rifle side. But on the pistol side, unless you have a specific medical condition, there is no sitting. You have to stand the whole time. But they do have I guess what would be the handicap access lane. It's the lane that you can walk down range, like the what are they? The range officers can go down range on the pistol side of it, and you can flip that up, and then that way, if you got a wheelchair or scooter or something like that, or you needed to sit down, you could still hit the target without shooting into the bench.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, I've been lucky where I've gone shooting. I can, with my pistols being able to sit down, so which is pretty good.
I'm sure that they have places where they're adjustable or something like that, or at the very end, like the last lane, it just doesn't have a bench to lay your stuff on or something.
Yeah.
I've never paid attention to it because usually I'm too excited to think about sitting.
A lot of times when I used to go to the range in Rhode Island, and I've done it when I've gone down to the one here, is I use my tailgate as my bench. I put my guns on and all my ammo's on there and stuff. So that's what. I do have a question. I know it's not disabled, but it is doing at the range. Now, like, it got up in the high 80s today here in this part of Indiana. You guys up in northern Indiana, it's still cold up there, I believe. But down here, we're pretty warm. But starting next week, the temperature's getting into the 80s and high 80s. Now, my question is, my tailgate, I put my guns out there. What about your ammo sitting out in the, with the sun pounding on it? Is it good for it, or is it bad for it, or it don't make any difference?
I mean, if you're worried about it, you can always put a towel over it.
Yeah, I was just wondering, is there any, as you all know, I'm new to guns. Is there anything, what about Squib? Is there any problem? I mean, do you leave your ammo sitting out in the sun while you're,
It's not going to hurt it. Not going to hurt it.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was or not,
I had to move to a quieter part of the factory. That's why I couldn't answer right away.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I can't see any issue with it unless you're in Death Valley and your windshield, the sun's coming through the windshield, magnifying on it or something. But no.
All right, because I was always wondering. I wonder if I'm doing the actual ammo any damage by having.
No, I mean temperature can affect the way the powder works. Temperature can affect ballistics to some extent, humidity, things like that. But in general, most modern smokeless cartridges are made to a standard that they can withstand certain temperature extremes. When you're doing reloading, some powders are better for, say, colder temps or warmer temps or something like that. But I mean, we're talking about extremes. We're talking about Death Valley versus Wisconsin. Yeah. I don't know, whatever.
Well, Guitar Man Pete says it increases pressure slightly, but you have to be shooting match level stuff to notice it.
Right. It's unless you're doing really ultra precise stuff. I want you to think about it like this: they issue the same ammunition to Marines and soldiers that they would use in Afghanistan as they would if they were on the Russian front. So it's got to be able to withstand, both temperature extremes, and that's pretty general purpose kind of, made in the same Olin Winchester plant that they make your target ammo at. So it really shouldn't be an issue. I will say though that with black powder, if you use boar butter or some other grease, whether you've made it or you purchased it, to grease the end of the chamber on the cylinder, if it's depending on the content of what's in there or the materials used, like the ratio, I guess you could say, of say like tallow to beeswax or something like that, warm temperatures can make this stuff melt. And when it does that, the powder will stick to it, and you'll catch the face of the cylinder on fire or something like that. So not that you would use that every time you're using a black powder revolver, but if you were going to put it on there to you put it on there when you're carrying it, I guess, not when you're shooting, reloading, but when you're putting it after you load it up, if you're just carrying it around, the temperature extreme could affect that some. But that's how many people actually use black powder revolvers and,
Yeah. I wonder how they done it in the old cowboy days.
They would just change the ratio of materials that they used in their grease. So if it was really warm out, you want more of this. If it's really cold out, you want really more of this. Because in one sense, this stuff is going to be so thick, it's going to cake on. It's going to be hard to apply in cold temperature. But in another sense, it could be so thin that it just goes watery, and you don't want that. So what the ratio is, you're going to have to do a little bit of research. If you tune into a channel called Duke Fraser Productions, he's got a lot of information on black powder revolvers, and he does go into it about, because he makes up his own mixture, about what you would, how you would adjust it based on the temperature.
Yeah. Oh, unknown user says you have to throw the ammo into a fire for it to go off. He's talking about when I said with the sun pounding on it, and even then it just pops like a firecracker.
Yeah, and it's not instant either. It sets in there for a little bit before it.
Yeah, no.
You have better
Guitar Man
luck with
Pete
aired
says,
up tires.
now, Guitar Man Pete says he saw in a reloading manual the proper way to dispose of old ammo is in a fire. They recommend standing 25 feet away.
Yeah, but see, you can nullify having to stand far away, or like Patriot was saying, having shell casings in your tires. If you put them in a pot and then put them out, like have a little campfire or whatever, and just sit them in the little campfire and walk away. Put a lid on the pot. The casings will explode inside the pot, and the rounds won't go anywhere, and the casings won't damage it'll damage the pot. You're not going to want to make soup out of it later, but it's not going to penetrate through the pot.
Yeah. Okay, I'm with you.
You'd have to use a metal pot. You couldn't use like ceramic or something like that. You'd have to, choose wisely when you pick your pot.
Yeah.
That Pyrex or something. Your wife might get upset.
Yeah.
If you use your glassware on the.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, anything else, guys, you want to talk about before we move on to something else that I'll just have to pull out of the top of my head? So we talked about the canes. We talked about shooting sitting down. Now, you're right. I don't think I'll ever learn to shoot right-handed with a rifle because I've tried it. I mean, I said it took me a lot of maybe if I trained with it, I could do it. But I've tried it down the shoot. I even tried it last time I pulled out my 22. I tried it. I can't even get it up to my right shoulder. It just feels awkward. I can't even, I can't even look down the sights, but it feels natural on my left side. So.
Yeah, if you were going to do that, I'd practice like on a bench. Because if it gets to the point where you have to switch like that, you might as well lay down.
Yeah, you're right. But I'm not a rifle guy, but I got to learn how to, do it, especially if I'm, leaning out the cab when I'm hunting, and make sure I can, if I scoot over on my seat, just lean out the passenger side window to shoot, I'm going to have to learn to do it with my right shoulder, ain't I? No.
Hey, what happens what happens? I guess it's depending on what kind of ammo it is, but what happens if your ammo gets wet? You know, I'm talking about like you drop it in a giant puddle and it's storming rain or something like that. Not wet for years or whatever, but 20, 30 minutes wet, 2 hours wet, couple days wet.
Yeah.
Squib, you're the master reloader.
Oh yeah. Okay, so if it's properly sealed up, it should be just fine. But I don't know how long it would be before it would find its way in there. I mean, if you just dropped it, in a puddle and pulled it out, it'd probably be just fine. If you left it in there for overnight, maybe not. Days, weeks, whatever. But I mean, I've seen where they've fired Glocks underwater. So water, if it's properly loaded or reloaded, it's going to seal up pretty good. So
I guess the best scenario would be, you go on vacation for a week or 2 weeks, or, if you're Gizzard Gary, 2 or 3 months, and you come home and your basement's flooded and your ammo's all, stacked on the floor. Is it ruined?
I'd pitch it.
Well, I would personally myself, I wouldn't pitch it. I would just use it. I wouldn't use it for like my carry ammo. I would just use it for range ammo. So if you get a dud or whatever, it ain't going to hurt anything,
Well, I would pick it up and just wipe off my ammo can, and I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah, that's true, because a good ammo can is going to seal.
I would.
Yeah.
Even those the cheap plastic ones. I mean, they've got rubber seals and stuff. I mean,
Most of them do. Some of them do not. Flip open the lid before you buy it. If you go over to if you're a Bass Pro and you go over to the marine section, where they got all the boat stuff, they use the same ammo cans made by Plano, and they definitely have a seal there because these things are designed to fall off the side of a boat.
And you want to check and make sure that the seals are right, because some of them, they may have a rubber seal, but it's made in some backwards plan or something. They're not on the right, so you do want to check that. But yeah, I put everything in ammo cans just because it's easier to carry or whatever too. So.
Is there any possibility that if you just got a basic lead projectile, that overexposure to the water could start depleting the lead, or are they made packed in sites where is that a thing?
I wouldn't drink the water.
Oh, come on, man. I mix up 223 Kool-Aid every night.
I mean, I'm soldering with lead right now. I don't think the being in the water, it's necessarily going to leach out some of the projectile materials so that it's
like make it softer or whatever.
Oh no, I don't know.
I mean,
lead doesn't corrode either, so.
Yeah, that's what you use for fishing. Lead weights and salt water and all that stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think you can use lead weights anymore, can you, in fishing?
I have no idea.
I don't pay attention. I got a big chunk of lead that my grandfather was a commercial fisherman, and they used lead for different things or whatever. But it's a big, huge. I don't know, big chunk of lead I used to play with, but maybe that's my problem.
Oh, unknown user said if storing for a long term, rubbing some grease on the sill with your finger helps a lot with the moisture control when you close that ammo can.
What about those? I forget the proper term you use for them, but like when you go to buy like an article of clothing or a pair of shoes, those little like bead packs that are always in there for the moisture.
Desiccant.
Thank you. That shit.
Yep, I put those in my ammo cans. I store all my extra ammo, whether it's my reloads or whether it's store-bought ammo, in ammo cans. They're all labeled with the caliber, and I put desiccant in each can.
Obnoxious told me I was supposed to put that on my toast.
I never thought about using that in my ammo can because I got a couple of these ones right here on the side. I know they're plastic, but they got the rubber seal in them, and they got ammo in them, but I never put one of those.
If it's in an air-conditioned room, you really don't have a whole lot to worry about. But if you're storing it somewhere where there's isn't proper ventilation, proper air conditioning, I mean, where you're taking the humidity out of the air, and even then, if you were to have a situation where, say, you lived someplace that was a lot more humid, like Texas or Florida, and you did keep them in the back bedroom, and you had the house air conditioned all the time, and the power went out for a week because of a hurricane or something. That peace of mind there. You can buy desiccant on Amazon if you want, or just save up all the desiccant you get when you buy big screen TVs like Patriot.
Or you can just make it from coffee filters and pure silica cat litter.
Or you don't even have to spend any money.
No.
Just go to Walmart or your sporting goods store, go to the shoe department, and just steal the packets out of the shoe boxes.
That's my man right
Oh,
there.
Patrick, you're talking about waterproof, and Patrick said you can use clear nail polish to help seal the primer and around the neck of the case, help waterproof the so the powder won't get wet.
There is primer sealer that you can buy, and that's all it really is. It's a jar of nail polish.
Squib uses the pink, but
but I said if I had ammo that got
only
wet,
on 38
got wet
special
for a long time, I wouldn't destroy it. I'd just use.
And you can also use duct tape to seal your ammo can, since that's what it's made for.
No, all these steps like the nail polish and the duct tape and the Vaseline and all that kind of stuff, that's for like prepping type of stuff. That's not what you guys would do with the ammo you just bought that you're gonna eventually take to the range. That's your long-term storage ammo.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yes, and I mean it still could be. I mean, long-term storage, either from a prepping standpoint or you just don't know when the next time it is you're going to shoot it. I mean, I've got boxes of ammo that are from the 80s. I bought them when I was a teenager, So, and that stuff's been in some sort of ammo can forever. It wasn't until maybe the past 10 or so years ago, maybe a little bit more than that, I started using desiccant.
I mean, if you got it in like a garage or something that has that extreme temperature change, freezing in the winter and super hot in the summer and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, I put them in there just because I save them. I've got some that are like, I don't know, like 3-inch by 5-inch or so, little packs of that desiccant. So.
Yeah, if you want to get a lot of it, just find somebody who works on robots. Because they shipped a whole bunch of those big bags with our the last robot we bought. So I've got some if anybody needs it.
Yeah.
Now, going back to that, like because of my back, when I go to the range, carrying my ammo, oh man, my gun bag that I take with me is on wheels, and normally my ammo's in that, and I try to lift it if I can. It depends how heavy it is, how much ammo I'm taking, how many guns I'm taking. If I can lift it, I'll throw it onto the tailgate. If not, it stays on the ground with the ammo in it because I can't lift it. So that's why I normally don't take ammo cans to the range because I just can't carry them. So, I got to think of all this stuff. When you're.
Do you use one of either the rolling luggage things, or those little trolleys they used to have?
It's a rolling luggage thing, but it's big enough to fit under an airplane seat.
Mm.
It's not the taller one; it's the short one.
Yeah.
And it's wide enough. It would slide right underneath an airplane seat. Okay. It's got a handle that stretches out and all that kind of good shit.
Yeah, because they also sell them where it's just a little frame, kind of like a dolly or something that extends out. So you can just have the frame, and then you just set your can or your bag or.
Oh yeah.
Because I used to do that with like a laptop bag that had the same kind of handle, and it would you'd pull it way out, and you could throw your luggage and then throw your bags on top of it. And
Oh, you can go to Walmart and get one of those little fold-out vinyl and plastic wagons and stuff all your stuff in there. Those things are fine. I mean, it doesn't really hold a rifle, but it holds a rifle better than carrying it in your hand. And then you
Yeah.
can put your bag in there, your drink, all your ammo, your magazines, whatever else you're going to take with you.
Yeah. Well, I know user says you don't have to worry about storing your ammo if you shoot it all.
It does have a point. It does have a point.
Yeah. But you're right. I mean, the other day, I remember as a kid, if you got the little red wagon with the piece of the wood around it, you were the bee's knees. Those things are expensive today.
Yeah, that's why you got to get the little fold-out vinyl one that costs like $20.
Yeah.
Or you could
And-
go old school with the red flyer.
Yeah, if you go on like Craigslist and that kind of stuff, you can pick up that stuff too. Because I've got one that's I don't know if it's like a little tyke, I think, or step 2. It's one of the kid ones, but it's like expanded, not expanded, but it's plastic and it's hollow, kind of like a balloon or whatever. You know,
Yeah.
and it's just for little kids. But I drag all sorts of stuff around with that. And you just got to remember to look at the tires too. If you got a range that's gravel or dirt, or you're going, across, a field, you don't want little skinny tires if you got a lot of weight in it. You can get those balloon tire ones from like Quality Farm and Fleet, the fleet stores, or like I said, check on Craigslist because there's always people getting rid of that old ratty wagon. And you can always spray paint it.
Yeah. You're right. Now, where I shoot now is I can drive my truck almost up to the line that I shoot at. I just can't drive it right up to it because the way they got it partially fenced off. That's why. Because the reason it's fenced off is where they hold those 4 turkey shoots a year. It's all specially laid out and everything else. So I can drive up to there's a gap in the fence is where I drive up to. Then I can go from there. So when I go, I always put my targets near the fence, for I'm not too far from my truck.
See, I want to be able to drive right up to the target.
Yeah,
Hey, I do that.
Just park right next to the target.
I do that with my scooter. I drive right up to the target. When I was in Rhode Island, I would I would put my paint cans, my spray paint cans, in my little girly basket on the front of my scooter. Drive right up to the still targets, paint them, drive back to my truck, get out, stand there and shoot at the damn things. Oh yeah, it's great to drive right up to the target. Beats walking up there any day.
Beats missing too.
Oh yeah. Also, what I started to do, the new range I'm at now, it's the one in Rhode Island was sort of, especially during the winter months it got a bit messy, but during the warmer months it was packed dirt or sand. I suppose dirt would be the better word. It was packed solid, so when my brass hit it, I could use my little roller thing, pick all my brass up, saves me bending over. But with grass, this place is grass. And it doesn't work so well in there. Plus, it's hard to see the brass in the grass. So what I'm going to start doing now is I bought me a dollar tarp at Walmart. So I'm going to spread the tarp out on my right side, just a few yards behind me, and hopefully most of the brass will hit that to make it easier for me to pick it up.
No, you're approaching this all wrong, Rick. Let me tell you how you do it. You go up to the guy that owns the range and you say, "Don't you know who I am? I want this range paved immediately. And by the next time you come back to the range, it'll be a concrete deck. You can just get your roller right back out." I
Oh
bet
yeah,
I bet you could probably even get somebody to catch all your brass for you if you wanted to pull your,
yeah.
celebrity card a little bit.
You know who I am. I'm a big, YouTube superstar.
I know, Squibload Patriot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and they should respond to that when you say that, because we both go everywhere we go. Don't you know who I am?
That's why it's always good to bring kids with you. So that way, when you're done shooting, you can make the kids clean up.
Oh yes, but I don't have any.
Yeah, let me know how that works, because I still haven't figured that one out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I like to do that too. Oh, the hour is almost up. Before I go, I've had a couple of you guys answer my quiz for Saturday. Email only now. This was a damn good question, and it's a super duper pack. It's all kinds of good stuff in there for this week. But the question is, in the 1981 sci-fi movie Outland, Sean Connery played Marshall William T. O'Neill in a mining colony on Jupiter's moon. What was his issued firearm? That is the question. Email me at rickslifeasiseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. Have the answers into me by 12 o'clock lunchtime Eastern time. You know, as they call it down here in this part of Indiana, fast time, because part of Indiana is in slow time, and the other parts. I mean, like when I went and saw my aunt today, she lives in slow time. I live in fast time, so I arrived there at 11, but it was only 10 this morning. You know, when I got to her place, so it's damn annoying when that happens. But that's how it works. It's that's these people. You know, that line that divides Central from Eastern time comes right through Indiana here. It's a real pain in the ass. So you learn to live with these things. But that's the question to my quiz. Oh, did you have one today? I didn't check my mail.
I actually I didn't. I was protesting until I got an address, and I see that I got one. So
Oh, so
from Mr. Stewart there, he
okay.
sent me his
So you
email
weren't
address.
doing one this week until you got the address.
Yes,
Okay, no problem.
because I was hinting and I kept sending hints, and
Yeah, well, you
people
know,
get busy.
yeah. I mean, my followers or subscribers are a tough crowd.
Yeah,
You know.
that's
Now,
okay.
is it tonight that G Webbs does one of his Minuteman Universities? I know he does one on Saturday.
No, it was Tuesday yesterday.
Oh, it's Tuesdays and Saturdays. Okay.
Yes.
I couldn't remember which. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
But I just thought the only reason I saw that, I saw his name come up on gun channels. The little green gizmo lit up saying he's online.
Yeah, he's been doing a lot of interviews. You should check those out.
Okay. All right. So anyway, so back to what I was saying. So I'm going to use the tarp for all my. See, from what I can understand, so every time I've gone down there shooting, I'm the only one there because these guys don't use it for that. I said there might be people down there fishing now. Fishing season started. You know, because they got the big lake there next to where I shoot. But so far, I'm the only one that uses the shooting range, except when they do this 4 a year turkey shoots. So I quite like it, really. And I'm the only one there. But then again, see, I've never been. That's a lie. I have done it once or twice, but it is nice to go shooting with somebody else. You know, it makes it more enjoyable. I mean, I like going on my own because I don't want to embarrass myself in front of somebody. But it's also fun going with somebody. I don't know how hard to explain that, but you know, I think I'm a lot worse than I really am when it comes to shooting. Because really, I am. I mean, I can normally hit the target. You know, hell, when you had to hit the target at 25 yards to pass your test for your carry in Rhode Island, you know, so I can normally hit what I'm shooting at. You know, so there we go. Anyway, the hour is up. Has anybody got any questions or anything they want to answer real quick before we go to the shout outs and plugs? Anybody? No? Okay. Let's do the shout out and plugs. We'll start with Squib.
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah. Dano tells me I have a sensitive ego is what it is. When I said about, the way I feel when I go shooting. All right. Patriot, any shout outs or plugs?
Well, thank you for the invite. I'm glad I got to jump on today. I did get a new batch of stickers, so if anybody would like the stickers, they can shoot me an email at patriotinthedark@gmail.com. I do have one of those PayPal whatever things for a donation for a sticker or something like that. But
Is this the same sticker? Just a new
yeah, it was just a new batch. I ran out.
man.
So well, yeah.
Well,
You know.
hey, I'm giving yours away too.
Oh, okay.
Because
Well, I'll send you a couple more.
You sent me collectors. I gave in next week's swag pack. One of your stickers was in there.
All right.
So, all right.
But yeah, that's about it. So.
All right. Great. All right, David, Kingpin Bowling.
Thanks for having me, Rick. I appreciate it. Everybody, make sure you check out Rick on Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern. And if you have the availability tomorrow morning about 9 a.m. Eastern on Gun Channels and here on YouTube, but Gun Channels is better, you can check out the Early Watch show with Dead Horse.
Oh, yes, the Early Watch is back. Yeah, and Dead Horse is running it. Yeah, oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, he had a pretty cool time. Gun Snob was in there today, and they talked about all kinds of cool stuff. And
oh yeah, and even earlier than that, what's his name?
Outlaw Hatfield was in.
He was in there too.
Yeah,
I caught a little bit of it this morning before I had to go out. Yeah.
And since Tony's not here, I'll ask, if you're not signed up to Gun Channels, why the heck not?
Yes. Tony was here when we started the show, but he had to drop out because he sent me a little note saying the kids were playing up, so he had to drop out. So that's why he said he can't wait to Sunday to hand his grandkids back off to their parents and he can go back home. All right, Blind Shooter. Any plugs, shout outs?
And not this time, Rick. Just thanks for having me. Much appreciated. Always look forward to it.
All right, I appreciate it. All right, I want to say thank everybody for being here in the chat rooms. If you have any questions that you want answered for this show on Wednesdays or Saturdays, email them to me. I can add them to my list. It makes life a lot easier for me to have a bunch of stuff down here. You guys make me work. And if you got any questions you want if you got any sort of questions I can use on the quiz, that would help too. You can email them to me. Also, if you like what you hear and seen, give me the thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. So there we go. So I want to say thank you. Jason Stewart says great show. Appreciate it. I really do. And I will see you all on Saturday at 3 p.m. All right. Good night, all.
Never for the dark.